Hey everybody. Today I'm going to talk about academic honesty and how we can use artificial intelligence with ChatGPT to check for student authenticity. We may be in this situation before where we have kind of a smug kid who doesn't really do a lot in class turn in the most amazing paper that everyone's been working on for about 3 weeks, and he's been working on it for about 30 minutes. So how do you tell whether or not the student is turning in their own work or if it's something that was generated by AI? Now, the old school solution is that you have the student sign a piece of paper saying a letter of authenticity. I did this. This is 100% mine. There's two problems with that. One, of course, is the student could be lying. And second, they could be lying to themselves in that they generated the text through ChatGPT and they kind of understand it, but they don't really know what they wrote about or what they copied from the chatbot. All right. Another solution is to have a digital paper trail where every day or two the students have to upload whatever work they have completed. This is fine and a good practice, but you can never be 100% sure that what they turn in every day was created by themselves and not AI. Now, the third and draconian way of doing this, and I've heard of schools where they only do writing in classes, and you cannot bring any outside information in. Everything has to be done in a lockdown environment, which for instructional time decimates it. And who wants that? We want to be teaching. We don't want to be observing students writing over long periods of time. Okay, so here is an example of a grade 11 student in my theory of knowledge class. He had a 950 word essay to write regarding 3 different artifacts that he analyzed with a pretty high thinking task of questions about certainty. Like, how can we be certain about anything? All right, so I know the student. I've known him for 9 months. Larry's strong. He knows a lot. He has a lot of good things going on in his head. Some of this I know is not his own words. It's polished through ChatGPT because I never heard him talk like this in class. So I can overlook that fact for now. But what I can do to quickly figure out those that have done the work and those that haven't is that I will go to ChatGPT, go down to the window, and I'll drag and drop a PDF file of the student's work. It'll be there, and then I'll put a prompt in there that will say something like, do you know the DP-TOK scoring guide for the exhibition? And ChatGPT is amazing, godlike, knows every state standard, knows international standards in other languages. Chances are somewhere in there it has an understanding of what you're asking for. Now, if you look at this right here, Chad says, yes, I have it, and then shows me the scoring guide, which I know is the scoring guide. Sometimes you might get an outdated version, so I would just double check that to make sure you're marking it against the most recent version. Okay, and then when I verify that it knows the scoring guide, I'll just say, now I want you to read through the paper and generate 20 discussion questions so that I can have a conversation with the student, pose a question to Larry, include an answer key because I'm not necessarily familiar with the content. All right, so one of Larry's artifacts was a physics formula, which I know nothing about. So ChatGPT will give me an answer key so I can kind of have a better understanding as to what he should be telling me. All right, so once I put that prompt in, I will have my 20 questions. All right, you can put a different prompt in to get a different generation here. So if it's not about content and it's more about vocabulary, you can just say, we are going to check for understanding regarding the vocabulary that was used. Generate 20 questions for Larry in the form of, in your paper you wrote blank, expand upon that idea. So immediately you have conversation starters. So this one here with, in your paper you wrote authority, expand upon that idea. How do authoritarians shape what is accepted as certain in different knowledge systems? He wrote about it. The question is based directly on what he had written, so he should be able to formulate an answer from that. Here's another example. Now, what I don't like to happen is for something to turn into a gotcha moment where the students feel that they're under a firing squad and that if they make a wrong answer, they're going to be accused of plagiarism. So to save yourself time and to better prepare the students, reverse the roles. Everything that I just taught you right now about generating questions, give those prompts to the students so that they can generate their own 20 questions. And then when we get to this point here, we can flip it around to where the student is the one fielding the question, and the questions have been given to the students in advance. But the nice thing about ChatGPT, of course, is that it's not going to generate the same 20 questions. So it can be used as a review guide. And then you can have your conversation happen that way. Now, you might be saying, I've got 25 students in my class, I can't interview all of them. Well, in that case, what you can do is just generate the questions separately and then hand it out in a test situation where they have to provide a written explanation responding to what they had written in their paper. I hope that helps. I want you to subscribe and like, and please comments about how this works for you or other videos you're curious about.